I've been telling you guys since the beginning, Pat McAfee does not fit with the rest of the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN. He was also accused of putting Pat McAfee in an uncomfortable position.
Shannon Sharpe wasn't just winning, he was the moment. From NFL Hall of Famer to the sharp-tongued voice behind Club Shay Shay, and now one of ESPN's biggest on-air personalities, Sharpe had transformed himself into a media powerhouse. But in the blink of an eye, that empire is on the edge of collapse. A staggering $50 million lawsuit has just detonated, accusing Sharpe of horrifying abuse during what the plaintiff describes as a years-long, manipulative relationship. The allegations are graphic, the details disturbing, and the timing couldn't be worse. In the court of public opinion, the headlines alone can be a death sentence. So the question isn't just what happened, it's why now? Is Shannon Sharpe facing a reckoning or a ruthless takedown? The lawsuit, filed in Nevada, reads like a horror story cloaked in legal language. The plaintiff, who met Sharpe in 2023 at a Los Angeles gym when she was just 20 years old, alleges that what began as a relationship quickly devolved into a dark spiral of manipulation, control, and violence. Court documents described Sharpe as emotionally coercive and domineering, claiming he demanded total control over her time, her appearance, and even her body. But it's the sexual assault allegations that cast the longest shadow. The filing accuses Sharpe of raping her twice during their time together, acts the complaint describes as brutal and traumatizing, leaving the woman with lasting psychological damage. The plaintiff claims that each incident occurred during a volatile relationship marked by threats, intimidation, and isolation. In one chilling moment, she alleges that when Sharpe caught her trying to share her location during an argument, he grabbed her and warned, "If you ever do that again, I will **ing kill you." Asterisk. The language used in the lawsuit is unflinching. Words like assault, manipulation, and severe emotional distress jump off the page, backed by claims of a pattern of coercive behavior that escalated over months. According to the accuser, this wasn't a one-off dispute. It was a sustained campaign of control that shattered her personally and professionally. If even a fraction of it is proven true, the fallout will be seismic. Shannon Sharpe didn't wait for the court of public opinion to turn. He came out swinging. Within hours of the lawsuit going public, his legal team issued a fiery statement denying every claim in the filing. They labeled the accusations not just false, but maliciously fabricated, calling the plaintiff a disgruntled individual seeking a payday. But that wasn't all. Sharpe's camp made it clear they weren't just defending, they were going on the offensive. In a move straight from the celebrity crisis playbook, Sharpe's lawyers dropped what they claimed were authentic text messages exchanged between him and the accuser. The texts, laced with flirtation and light banter, appear to show a consensual, even affectionate, relationship, one that seemed to contradict the lawsuit's narrative of fear and coercion. These messages paint a very different picture, his attorney declared, hinting that the alleged victim had ulterior motives from the start. Sharpe's defense is leaning heavily on digital receipts, texts, DMs, and timestamp photos, and they're not being subtle. His legal team has already suggested that the plaintiff's timeline doesn't add up and is riddled with inconsistencies. More damning still, they've threatened a countersuit for defamation, signaling they're not just fighting back. They're aiming to destroy what they call a character assassination campaign. Their strategy is textbook high-profile defense. Flood the media with counter-narratives, question the accuser's credibility, and make this about manipulation, not misconduct. But the court of public opinion is fickle, and in a post-#MeToo era, even the strongest defense can buckle under enough scrutiny. Enter Pat McAfee, former NFL punter turned podcast powerhouse, who knows firsthand what it's like to face a courtroom and a camera at the same time. When Shannon Sharpe's allegations hit the headlines, McAfee didn't stay silent. On his show, he addressed the situation head-on, not just as a commentator, but as someone who's lived through his own media legal firestorm, battling Brett Favre over defamation claims tied to a Mississippi welfare scandal. McAfee's take was measured but revealing. He didn't leap to defend Sharpe outright, but you could hear the weight in his voice, the kind of weight that only comes from experience. Allegations like this, Mcafee said, they don't just hit you in court. They hit your family, your career, your name. And even if you win, sometimes you don't really win. That balance, empathy without endorsement, is exactly what made his commentary so powerful. Mcafee acknowledged the gravity of the accusations and reminded his audience that serious claims deserve serious investigation. But at the same time, he pointed out the danger of trial by headline, especially when digital receipts and reputations are weaponized in real time. In doing so, Mcafee walked the tightrope, showing support for a colleague without dismissing the woman's claims. In today's media ecosystem, that's not easy, but his voice added a rare layer of nuance to a story already spiraling into extremes. As the legal dust begins to settle, the experts are weighing in, and they're not sugarcoating it. Lawyers familiar with high-profile civil cases say the $50 million figure isn't just a random number. It's a strategic move, one that reflects the enormous value Shannon Sharpe represents in today's media landscape. We're talking about a man who inked a massive contract with ESPN, joined Stephen A. Smith on First Take, and built Club Shay Shay into one of the hottest interview platforms on YouTube. His brand is worth tens of millions, and this lawsuit knows it. Civil rights attorney Areva Martin called the filing a direct hit to Sharpe's public and professional persona, noting that while criminal charges haven't been filed, the civil system doesn't require the same burden of proof. That means public perception, not just facts, could drive the case and the fallout. Then there's the ESPN contract. According to insiders, standard morality clauses in these kinds of deals can trigger suspension or termination if a scandal damages the network's image. Sharpe may be innocent until proven guilty, but in the world of corporate media, optics can be everything. If advertisers flinch or social media pressure intensifies, Disney, which owns ESPN, could step in to protect the brand. Legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin went even further, suggesting that if the case gains traction, this could be the kind of lawsuit that ends careers, not because of guilt, but because of timing, image, and money. And with that $50 million claim hanging in the air like a guillotine, Sharpe's entire empire could be one judge's decision, or one headline, away from collapse. The courtroom battle is one thing, but in the arena of public perception, Shannon Sharpe is already losing ground. The backlash has been swift, and the silence from corporate sponsors is even louder. Hydrocharge, the energy drink Sharpe was proudly endorsing just weeks ago, has paused all campaigns featuring his likeness. Their statement, brief and surgical, read, "We are monitoring the situation and have temporarily suspended promotional activity until further notice." In brand speak, that's a near-death sentence. Sharpe's image was on digital banners, fitness campaigns, even upcoming wellness content. All of it gone overnight. And they're not alone. Several other sponsors have declined to comment, but quietly scrubbed social media mentions and ad placements tied to Sharpe. One insider from an athletic apparel company admitted, "We've pulled all creative materials with Shannon pending legal resolution. Standard protocol in cases like this." That protocol is about one thing, shielding the brand. It's not about guilt or innocence. It's about distance. Fast, surgical distance. It's a familiar pattern in the age of digital scandal. Corporate loyalty evaporates the moment controversy threatens the bottom line. The machine that once celebrated Sharpe's rise now moves just as efficiently to erase him. But here's where things get more complicated. The public isn't speaking with one voice. There's a clear generational split in how this scandal is landing. Older fans, those who followed Sharpe from his Hall of Fame NFL career into the ESPN spotlight, are stunned, even defensive. To them, he's a self-made success story, a man who beat the odds and gave back. But younger audiences, raised in the era of #MeToo and online accountability, are far less forgiving. They're not waiting for court dates. On TikTok and Twitter, Sharpe's reputation is already being redefined in real time. Viral clips accusing him of narcissism or emotional manipulation are racking up millions of views. The accusations, true or not, are fusing with his public persona. This isn't just a legal issue anymore. It's a full-scale reputation crisis, and the ground is shifting under Sharpe's feet. One sponsor pause becomes two. One deleted Instagram post becomes a narrative. And once a brand becomes too controversial to touch, the endorsements don't come back. Not without a redemption arc. And those are rare, expensive, and almost never guaranteed. If the $50 million figure wasn't enough to jolt the public, the deeper dive into the court documents is where this story twists into something far darker, more disturbing, more personal, and far more dangerous. According to the lawsuit, one of the most chilling allegations involves an incident where Shannon Sharpe allegedly brandished a firearm during an argument with the accuser. The complaint describes a moment of intense fear, where the woman claims Sharpe used the presence of the weapon not just as intimidation, but as a psychological leash, reminding her who held power and how quickly that power could escalate into violence. But it doesn't stop there. The accuser further alleges that Sharpe used his digital reach and financial resources to track her movements, claiming he had eyes everywhere. Court documents outline a pattern of what she describes as digital surveillance, location tracking, unauthorized access to private messages, and even subtle warnings that she interpreted as a threat. Don't forget, I always know where you are. To someone unfamiliar with the world of celebrity influence, this may sound like paranoia. But when you're dealing with a media titan like Sharpe, armed with money, fans, and a sprawling media platform, those fears don't just live in the shadows. They echo, and they linger. Yet, even as these alarming allegations swirl, character witnesses from Sharpe's past are stepping into the fray. Former teammates, coaches, and friends are defending the man they knew, not the one described in the lawsuit. Hall of Famer Ray Lewis posted a cryptic but pointed message on Instagram. I know a warrior when I see one. That ain't the man I played beside. Other unnamed teammates have reportedly told journalists that Sharpe was intense but never abusive, hyper-controlled but not dangerous, and that this version of Shannon doesn't make sense. These statements don't erase the allegations, but they do complicate the portrait. There's a growing tension between the man fans grew up watching, gritty, driven, unflinchingly honest, and the man painted in the lawsuit, someone allegedly capable of deep manipulation, coercion, and psychological warfare. The question now isn't just whether the allegations are true. It's whether any amount of past reputation can shield someone from the kind of narrative that, once it's out there, becomes impossible to undo. The courtroom might be where the official verdict gets stamped, but the real war, the one playing out in real time, is happening in the court of public opinion. And both sides are weaponizing every receipt, every text message, and every screenshot they can muster. Shannon Sharpe's team wasted no time striking back, not just with legal filings, but with digital firepower. They released a series of text exchanges that appear to show cordial conversations between Sharpe and the accuser well after the alleged incidents. In one message, she compliments his performance on First Take, calls him magnetic, and even jokes about round two during an apparent flirtation. The implication is clear. How could someone traumatized by abuse still engage with her alleged abuser like this? But Sharpe's legal strategy doesn't end at contradiction. It pivots to total character assassination. Leaks from sources close to Sharpe are painting the accuser as a clout chaser, someone with a documented history of financial troubles and legal entanglements, now allegedly using the justice system to leverage fame and fortune. The accuser's side, meanwhile, is not backing down. They've dropped their own set of receipts, DMs and voice notes they claim reveal manipulation, control, and emotional exploitation. One chilling clip allegedly features Sharpe saying, "Don't make me remind you who you belong to." His lawyers say it's out of context. Her team says it's everything. Now, as social media erupts in hashtags and hot takes, both camps are in full-blown PR war mode. Publicists, crisis managers, podcast hosts, they're all joining the fray, trying to shape a narrative before it ever sees a jury. And here's the brutal reality. This might never go to trial. With reputations and millions on the line, insiders say both camps are quietly entertaining the idea of a settlement. Not because anyone's giving up, but because the public stage has already caused damage no courtroom ruling can undo. And yet, even in the middle of all this noise, a quieter, more unsettling question rises to the surface, one that haunts every celebrity scandal of this magnitude. Are we witnessing justice or a takedown? Is this a reckoning long overdue or a dangerous weaponization of fame, gender, and trauma narratives? For every fan that clings to Sharpe's image as an NFL legend and charismatic media mogul, there's someone else who sees a cautionary tale about unchecked power, silent victims, and the walls money can build around accountability. No matter how this ends, whether with a courtroom verdict or a backroom deal, the ripple effects are already baked into the culture. The lines between truth, performance, and reputation are more blurred than ever. And we, the public, are left to decide which version of the story we believe and why.